I guess I haven't done a rant in a while, so I guess it's time for me to do a rant. And it's one of those things that I try not to do, even though for whatever reason, my most popular videos happen to be rants. Go figure. Now, I've had numerous female posters. I know black men would like to call them trolls, but since I responded to some female posts, I thought it was fair that I would entertain, to a point, female posters or commenters in my IBMOR space, even though I considered it to be a male space and a male forum for black men to air out their grievances. And for the most part, I give black men a very wide berth because it is a forum that is there for them. And I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be sexist. I don't give female commenters as wide a berth. It is what it is. Now, I have been fairly patient with female commenters in my IBMOR channel, to the chagrin of a lot of my male counterparts, my male subscribers that tell me to just block the bitch. Okay? In those very words, by more than a few of my subscribers that tell me not to engage with female commenters for various reasons, some of which have been evident in the comment section, why you probably shouldn't. But the reason I am particularly doing this one is because of the back and forth I've been going on with, I think it's Perfection's Painting Wine Sip. I wish people would actually, if they're going to have a YouTube name or post on a YouTube name, it'd be a little bit more concise so people can actually, reference it. It's a little bit more difficult. But I'm going to mention two grievances that I have with female posters, female commenters in my comment section. And two of my pet peeves is one, let's make it three of my pet peeves, is one, there's a lot of female commenters that love to use all caps. Now, anybody that's been on the internet for any length of time, and I've been on the internet, I hate to say it, since 1987, it's been internet protocol that you don't use all caps unless you are screaming at people. Women are very good at etiquette and protocol, and I don't see why it doesn't go through their heads, especially, and I only see this with black women. I don't see this on my other channels when white women come to the comment section. You don't see the all caps. They're passionate, they can be even aggressive, but you don't see the same thing. You don't see the broaching protocol, internet protocol. That's the first thing. The second issue I have is that if you want a back and forth as far as comments, it would be best to keep them concise. Black women have the need to write essays in a comment section. And I do mean essays in a comment section. I mean continuously for a post. And my thing is, and I've always believed, is if you have to write an essay in a comment section, it's easy to pick up your mic or pick up your phone and post a response video. That's what a response video is for. Is so that if you have a disagreement that's longer than a few lines, you can actually use your voice and completely and concisely post your argument as far as you want, as far as whatever rebuttal is that you want, which is something that I would prefer. These long ongoing dialogues are irritating to me. But the thing is, I tolerate it because I did respond to females in another YouTube channel. So I'm tolerating it. Now to the business at hand. Oh, there was a third. It's irritating to me that very smart, very educated women can't dissect an argument, can't separate an argument, can't determine what you said. Now they can pick out a word, they can pick out a particular point, and for some reason they can't logically attach that to the argument that you were trying to make. And that's where I'm going to start with as far as Perfection's painting wine sip. Let's call her PPWS for short. Let's call her wine sip for short. Wine sip was trying to argue with me about. Now, she argued with me because she said I called black women racist in my colorism video. And I pointed out to her that I'd never called black women racist. I said they were spewing racist shit. Just like a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old would hear something that somebody said, say that black 5-year-old kid heard a old racist cracker say something racist, vilely racist, and came back and repeated. Just because that child repeated some racist stuff, racist statements from somebody else, would you call that child a racist? No, you wouldn't. But that statement is very racist, and you would immediately recognize that that statement was racist and find out where the source was. So just because somebody says something racist, Charles Barkley does it all the time, does not mean that Charles Barkley's a racist. Charles Barkley can have a racist mindset. We've determined that you can't be black and be a racist, but you can spew out some racist shit. It can come out of your mouth. Those are two separate things. You don't have to be a racist to say something racist. You can do that. You can say it accidentally. You can say it unconsciously. Black women, especially black people, but black women especially, have passed down this racist caste system that white people have started, and passed down elements of this stuff, cultural elements of this stuff, all the way down till today. Now, colorism now is not what it was then. Colorism back then, that means you had no access to certain jobs. You didn't have access to certain schools. You didn't have access to certain parts of town. You didn't have access to certain clubs. That's what the paper bag was for. If you do a Google search on anything about paper bags, the paper bag test and the colorism test was to exclude you from the caste of the mulattoes. That's what it was for. We call them light skin. Light skin was a euphemism because guess what? Those light skinned people didn't like being called mulattoes, which is what they were. They were bastard children of the dominant society. And to protect them, the dominant society gave them institutions, that gave them money, and gave them access so that they wouldn't be harmed by the quote unquote darker and lower class. But that was caste system segregation. And the only reason that it did not carry forward is because legally, the European immigrants that were coming in drew a hard line between African Americans and European white people. If you didn't have quote unquote European white blood, and it could be proved, you were cast back down there with the other half, which is the Negroid class. That's what Ferguson versus Plessy was about. Plessy was not a dark person. Plessy could have passed because he was almost indistinguishable with white people. With that line drawn by white people, cast the mulatto class back in with the rest of us. So the mulatto class had their own way of segregating themselves from the lower, darker classes. And that angst between that struggle still persists today because it has been culturally passed down. Normally from mother to child. Because guess who the first teacher is? The mother. Now, I'm going to inform Miss Winesip about female nature. It's not anything new. They've known that since the ancients. But the thing is, if you want to read about, especially about female nature, read Briefault's book called The Mothers. It's The Mothers by Briefault. I think it's Robert Briefault. If you read that, he does a whole book about female nature, coming all the way from the animal kingdom, all the way up to people through marriage. And he will describe to you what female nature is. Now, I've paraphrased Briefault. And basically what female nature is, we go all the way down. I've done it in my, if you want to know what the full dissertation, what I think about female nature, you can look at my esoteric female nature, all the way from a bacteria. Female nature is about the nest and her offspring, gathering material and resources so that her offspring will survive in whatever environment she finds herself in. So if a hyena doesn't have spots and they find out they're in the brush where they need spots, a hyena or a lion or a cheetah or whatever it is will find a mate that has the desirable genetic traits that will allow her offspring to survive in the environment that she's in. It's no different for a woman. And you can go all over the world in any country and find out what the desirable traits in that country is, and a woman will try to match that for her offspring that's in her biology. That's why Black women here in the United States love curly hair or straight hair or soft hair and light skin. It's not about her per se. It's about her offspring. And she incorporates that biological imperative into her psyche. It's not rocket science. Black women, or women period, are about their vessel, about their genetics, about their biology. Women, that's why you see cosmetic sales all over the world dominated 90% by whom? Women. Women are concerned about their body image, whether they have too much weight, too little weight, whether their skin is too light in one instance, too dark in another instance. You go to Nigeria, most Nigerians are not concerned with the white female body image. They like heavier, hippier women because that's what's desirable in their society. You go look in China. You wouldn't believe that China has colorism or featureism, but they do because they're 90% Han. They're almost a monoculture. The same thing in Japan. The same thing in the Philippines. The Philippines want people that look more Chinese because the Chinese dominate the Philippines. So a more Chinese-looking Filipino will have greater success than a darker one, more native Filipino. And that's well before they came in contact with white people. The Hans are white-skinned. It's normal for females to incorporate this because of what? Say it with me. They want to give those genetic advantages to their offspring. Colorism is no more than an extension of the female imperative. That's why it's the mothers that propagate this stuff. How many men do you know talk about their baby's hair grade? I was talking to, I have 3 grandsons, and they have to me, they all have curly hair. And I have a son that is married to a biracial woman. Okay? So you would assume that my grandson by a biracial woman would have the best grade, the quote unquote best grade of hair, right? It's the exact opposite. My darkest daughter, who gets her curly grade of hair from her dark mother, is considered in my family, because this is a consensus of all the women, because the men don't give a shit, that my darkest son has the best grade of hair. Which to me, when I look at them, they all have basically the same kind of hair, but women can tell the difference. If it wasn't for me looking at Chrissy's videos, I would have never known there's basically 12 grades of hair, or maybe even more. It's probably women that invented the paper sack test. That is the purview of women, and they spread this to their children. The reason that my son married a biracial woman and he didn't want any dark women is because his grandmother is color struck, even though she's a dark woman. All the men she's ever married were light skin. She even told their mother not to be involved with me because I was not light enough. I've never heard that from a father. Now, there are men that are influenced by this. Where do they learn it? Where is this stuff perpetuated? Even before there was television. This stuff went on before there was television. There was no TV. You can't see skin color through radio. So it can't be the media. This stuff has been going on for a long time. It's perpetuated by culture from the first teacher, which is their mothers, to their children. Because my mother didn't teach it. My grandmother didn't teach it to my mother. We have all shades in our family. And I've said in other videos, I've got an aunt, twin aunts. One is light skin with red hair and green eyes. The other one is jet black with black hair and dark eyes. Polar opposites. That's throughout the whole family. My grandmother didn't pass that down. She didn't teach colorism to her children. So my mother didn't teach colorism to me. Now that hair stuff is something completely different. I don't understand that about black women, about this hair. But colorism, since my mother didn't teach it to me, my grandmother didn't teach it to her, it never got passed on to us. None of the men that I was around cared about color. Color is basically a preference. You might have a dark girlfriend. You might have a light girlfriend. You might have a girlfriend with green eyes and red hair. You might have a dark girlfriend with curly hair. I know who passes this shit down because I hear it. I've been around thousands of women. I hear this shit constantly about color, about hair texture, about hairstyles, about which baby is prettiest. I know that because I got 3 grandsons with curly hair, and I see black women with their fingers in their hair all the time, where all the men are saying, cut it. But no, my daughters want their hair to be long because that's how they get praised. This is the purview of women. It took me 30 years to figure this shit out. That's why I put it up on a channel so that black men, but black men especially, will understand the nature of women. So they won't get hurt and angry when you guys do stupid shit, because it's stupid to us. But when you break it down and you understand why women do this and why black women do this in particular, you don't get mad at her for wearing a weave. You understand what's in her biology and what's in her psyche. You don't get mad at her for using skin lightening cream or makeup or whatever, or blue contacts, because you understand what's in her biology and what's in her psyche. The unfortunate part is black women do not understand themselves. If black women understood themselves as women as what their nature is, half this crap that we go through would get squashed. If you tell women how to understand themselves and what influences that they are responding to unconsciously, then maybe, just maybe, they can fix it. All my spiritual teachers always taught me that you can't solve a problem that you can't put a name to. Once you can put a name to it and you can recognize the process, then you can go about fixing the problem. But why am I arguing with a black woman that knows that what I'm saying is true because you experience this every day? It's black women that have problems with body image. It's black women that have problems with their skin color. It's black women that have problems with their hair texture. It's black women that have problems with their eye color. Now, black men do reinforce that shit. Just like that lady. That's why I put the end of it, that lady's video clip at the end of my video, so that you would hear it out of a black woman's mouth. Exactly what I'm saying. But prove it. You heard it out of a black woman's mouth and her experience with her relatives in a different country. This is a cultural heritage that has been passed down from mother to child because it's in her purview to pass that knowledge down to her child, especially her girls. Everything about color and hair texture and all that other shit, I've never had problems out of guys with that stuff. It's always been women. And any man can tell you that it's always been women. And I can't tell you how many times that I've seen black women, especially, try to run their fingers through the hair of some light-skinned curly guy's head. And I'm sure 90% of black men have seen this and experienced this themselves. We just accept it. It is what it is. So basically, we go out and try to prove ourselves to build our own self-esteem. What do women do? They get angry and they try to bring down the people that look like them. Look like like what they want to look like. If you want a good example of this stuff, go read The Bluest Eye. You don't have to I don't have to tell you that. Go read The Bluest Eye. It's completely about that same shit. How to mimic that white woman. And if you can't mimic her, how to bring that white woman down so that you can take her place, which is what Chrissy is about. She's about bringing down not only the light-skinned women, but the white women and replacing her self and the women that she looks like in that place. And and using black men to do it while unconsciously knowing that that's going to be goddamn impossible. And even if you did it tomorrow, it takes 7 generations for one cultural change to happen. To change the cultural standard of beauty, it takes 7 generations to weed that stuff out. It didn't happen overnight, and you can't get rid of it overnight. Hell, colorism basically ended in the 1940s. We're really in the 1930s with the Depression, where it collapsed everybody, all the black people down, and they all had to mix. So why is it 90 years later that it's still here? Because it takes 7 generations for this stuff to get weeded out. Now you're trying to tell me about female nature, and I can tell by your response that you have no clue. Absolutely no clue. And 90% of the women that respond to this have no clue what the fuck they talking about because they haven't read. Because if you read and you've read, then it's right in your face. Because you do the exact same thing that men talk about. So either you're unconscious of it, you're ignorant of the fact, or you're lying. It's one of those three. Because human nature is what it is. That's how come everybody jumps on Aisha Curry. Aisha Curry has everything that black women want. She's got good hair, whatever that means, like Beyonce, say Becky with the good hair. That should tell you right there where colorism comes from. Hell, the clip I played about Crystal and Colorism, what the hell did she say? The guy she lost out to preferred more what? Exotic women with curlier, softer hair and lighter skin. Where she learned that shit from? Every black woman knows that's where you learned it from your mother or other women. And the thing is that you're lying. I know it because I've heard it. And I've heard women attack each other constantly about their hair. Now I always ask them, what is so important about that woman's hairstyle that you disagree with? If she's wearing French braids, if her hair is not pressed, if her kitchen is not pressed, if her hair is too nappy, if her hair is the wrong color, if her eyelashes look too fake, she's got too much makeup on, she's too dark, she's too light, her ass is too big, she's too fat, she's too skinny. These are women talking about each other. I've heard my sisters say it. I've heard my mother say it. I've heard girlfriends talk about other women like that when they want to put them down. The biggest slut shamers on the planet are other women. Because guess what? Men like sluts. Yes, we do. We don't want to marry them, but we do like them. Most of us, anyway. But Aisha Curry has what all black women want. That's how come she's getting attacked. She's not getting attacked for talking about modesty on a tweet. She's getting attacked because guess what? She's got a light-skinned guy with curly hair and green eyes that has status, wealth, and fame. That's number one. She's got those. Second thing is she's got good hair. She's got light brown eyes, and she's got light skin, damn near white skin. That's what they're upset about. They're not even upset at Eve or Janet Jackson for marrying white men. Why don't you get upset at them? No, you're attacking Aisha Curry because she's got what you want. That's why black men no longer respect your opinion about this shit, because you have become so blatantly obvious that anybody can spot it. It's gotten to the point it's gotten silly. So you claim there's a sisterhood, but you don't respect all those women that had to climb over all this racism to get those parts in TV and movies and hopefully pull you guys up. When I say that there were no light-skinned roles on TV when I was a kid, they were all dark. They were maids, they were mammies, they were whatever. And I mentioned Uhuru because you're trying to say that there has been light-skinned prejudice on TV and in movies forever. And that's not true. That's why I mentioned Uhuru. Uhuru was not light-skinned. She was as dark as you can get. She happened to be sleeping with a white man, but so what? So I was trying to point out to Chrissy by putting those women in that particular video that what she was claiming was not true. If black women were not, dark women were not getting promoted, not getting roles, not being represented in mainstream TV, then I shouldn't have been able to find them. It should have all been light-skinned women with green eyes or whatever color eyes and that long flowing hair. They should all look like Vanessa Williams or at the very least look like Beyonce. And guess what? No, they didn't. You have no excuse. And I would do that same thing for guys. Stop the fuckery. Stop whining about bullshit that does not exist. If dark women really wanted a representative, being Mary Jane should be the hottest TV show on TV, because all them dark women, millions of dark women should get behind that TV show and make it so hot, make Gabrielle Union a billionaire. Gabrielle Union should be a billionaire if dark-skinned women really are about what they talk about. She should be their hero. Is she? No. She's on fucking cable. Nicole Bahari of Sleepy Hollow should be famous. A dark-skinned woman in prime time on a major network and a starring role, carrying a badge and a gun, even should be famous. If you're about what you talk about, if you want to be promoted and want to be represented. But no, we don't like that. It's like a soap opera. Black people don't watch that TV show. So fucking what? If she was a Hispanic woman, a Mexican woman on that TV show, Mexicans will be watching that TV show to support her. If she was an Asian on that particular TV show, it'd be one of the hottest TV shows on TV because all the Asians would support her. Why don't they? So in other words, what I'm saying is just because it's a TV show you don't like or those TV shows are something that you don't like doesn't mean that you are not represented. I have proved your theory wrong, which is all I was trying to do, because I hear it too much about women whining about colorism, not being represented, not being promoted. Put your dollars behind the people that carry your promotion. The most well-known dark-skinned woman on the entire planet is part of the leadership of the free world as we speak, sitting on the throne. Okay, before I was interrupted, the darkest woman, and where was I? Michelle Obama is the most famous dark woman in the entire world right now. She sits on the white throne of America. But I'm not promoted. I'm not represented. You can't get any more better representation of Michelle Obama. But they say she looks like a man. So what? So what? Do you want to succeed or not? Do you want to change things or not? things are not going to get changed the way that you want them changed. Take what you have and build on it. Stop whining about what you don't have. Stop saying you should be happy. Nobody says that you should be happy with what you don't have. But what you should do is build off of what you have. You can't build off of stuff that you don't have, can you? You have to take the materials that you have and build it to greater. And I've always said this. I've said this in one of my videos. The problem with females, the problem with women, is they come with wants and needs. They don't have any idea how to get it done. What they do is they have complaints, and that's what they do is complain. And they nitpick. That's what Winesip did. She nitpicked. She talked about Uhura. She didn't include the argument that I had. She conveniently left out the argument. Well, it didn't start with Uhura. I never said it started with Uhura. You're putting words in my mouth. Well, black women aren't racist. I didn't say black women were racist. You're putting words in my mouth. Stick to the argument. And with stuff that she puts in about what somebody else wrote about their personal experience has no bearing on what's happening across the structure of the world and how human beings work. Colorism is artificial. It's only as real as you make it. And anybody can draw a line. What you're doing is drawing lines. When I put up 8 dark-skinned women, well, those 2 aren't dark enough. Those 2, according to the colorism test, the paper bag test, would have failed the paper bag test, would have been considered dark women. I stated that at the beginning of the video. First thing black women will say, well, you know what light skin is. Light skin is variable. It depends on which side of the line you look on. My dark-skinned daughter didn't believe she was dark. She thought she was brown. Because in our family, everybody's black. Everybody's a black person. Everybody has a hue of brown. So when she was a child, she didn't grow up believing that she was dark. She really did not. Until that started to be impressed upon her that she was black, that she was too dark. That had to be given to her because I didn't do it. None of my family gave it to her, but her mother and her grandmother, as she got older, impressed upon her about her skin color and her hair. Oh my God, the hair, Jesus! Baby come out and well, she's not looking at her ears. Her mother so badly did not want her to be dark. She thought that you know how babies have the when they come out they're a different shade, but you can tell what their shade's going to be by their cuticles and by their ears. She looked at the back of her ears and said that was hair. I said, no, that's her color that she's going to be. And we had an argument. We had a falling out over that. I know because my sister's dark and it was the same thing. You look at their cuticles. That's the color that they're going to be. That's how you know for a melanated child, when they're born, that's how you can tell what color what their color is going to be by their cuticles. You look at the cuticles on their fingers, you know their color. You look at their ears, you know their color. I know that. For some odd reason, her mother didn't know that. And she's fidgety because she don't want her child to be that color. I said, damn, you that color. What do you care? Women carry this shit. Men know women carry this shit. Women cause this shit. Because black boys get angry at light-skinned men because of what? Because women choose what? Light-skinned men. Because of what? Genetics. And they perpetuate that to their daughters. And their daughters see light-skinned women as desirable. And they get angry at the light-skinned women. Because their mothers have taught their sons to look for who? Light-skinned women. Because that is the standard of beauty that has been perpetuated. And that's where this BS keeps going back and forth. Now, it's not as bad as it used to be because it doesn't deny you jobs. It doesn't deny you marriage. It doesn't deny you into a particular part of society. You can rise as high in society nowadays as you want to, no matter what your color is. That's how come Michelle Obama can can be first lady. So that doesn't matter. So now why this shit is still going back and forth is a mystery to me, because it's bullshit. But black women never want to take the ownership of where the problem is. Black men can't solve it. Black women don't want to solve it. That's the problem. They want us to come in and force them to do the right thing. But anyway, I didn't want to make this an hour rant, because now I'm going to have to edit it down to where it actually fits. But that's my argument. That's my rant. One other thing. It's going to be long, okay? It's just going to be long. Let's get this swirling shit out of the way. Let's just get it out of the way. While I'm on it, while I'm on a rant, and while I'm cooking. I don't give a fuck about black women swirling, okay? Let's get that out of the way. I don't give a goddamn about black women swirling. In fact, I encourage black women that want to swirl to swirl. You ask why? Why, Black Gnostic? You're a Pan-African. Why do you want black women that want to swirl to swirl? Get them out of the community. Kristen Colorism should never be in our community. You've married that white man. Don't come over here trying to kick black men when you've married a white man. If you're going to promote interracial marriage or swirling, as you say, then stay on that side. But you guys accept her as a sister. Now, Tommy Sotomayor dates white women. He says he has dated white women. But the thing is, Tommy Sotomayor is not exclusive. He dates both. He's always dated both. All of his children are by what? Black women. He doesn't have any offspring by white women. He don't have no white baby mamas. But if he dates a white woman, y'all jump all over him. But you don't attack Kristen Colorism for doing the same thing. You black women defend her. Kristen Colorism gets attacked not because she dates a white man or is married to a white man, because there's plenty of black women on YouTube that date white men. Lots of them. They have children by white men. They don't get attacked. They got, 100,000 subscribers. They never talk about negative complaints that they get from black men. Black men don't even go to the channel. They're not even interested. And some black men actually subscribe to their channels, even though they're married to a white man. They don't care. And first thing I tell Kristen Colorism, if Kristen Colorism can convince all those fence sitters, all them black women that want white men but are scared to go over there and do it and come back on our side and keep bitterly complaining about black men and what black men ain't doing because they want to be on the other side, black men should actually pay Kristen Colorism. Go get them all and push them all to that side and clean them out of the community, because they're no good to us. If they marry you, they're no good to you, because she's going to desire that white man. She should be with that white man if she can find a white man to take her. But the thing is that the pathology that she carries is no good to that white man. One day he's going to catch that flack and he's going to dump her. In fact, there was a dude in one of these channels that talked about Kristen Colorism. A white dude that said exactly the same thing. He was out dating a white woman. He's dating a black woman that he liked a whole lot, sitting down at dinner, and a black man came in with a white woman, and she went off on that dude. And she came back to the table after going off after him pulling her back, and he asked her, "What are you doing?" And she was complaining about that black dude with that white woman. And he said, "Well, wait a minute, what am I?" And then she had to realize that he's white. He said he just paid the check and he left. The way I feel about swirling, especially we talk about red pill and MGTOWs and IBMORs. Now, IBMORs don't date white women, but MGTOWs, there's a lot of MGTOWs that date white women and say that they do. And say why that don't necessarily say why that they do. So why would somebody like me be against swirling? I encourage the activity for those that want to do it. Go do it and stay on that side. Neely Fuller, Claude Anderson, and a bunch of other Pan-Africans, pro-nationalist black people said the same thing. If you want to be white, Declare it and presto changeo, you're white. You're in the white community. You just bear with whatever bullshit you have to have because that's your community now. Go do it. That is my case for swirling. Like it or not. I don't date them. I don't have kids by them. I've never had sex with a white woman. And I've gone to white schools. I've never had a desire to have sex with a white woman. And I've gone to white schools. That's just me. But if you want to do it, go do it. Stop giving brothers a hard time for their choice, because that's all it is. They're black men are doing what you want to do. They're just doing it at greater numbers and you're pissed off, which is female. But like I said, this is an epic Sergeant Willie Pete length rant, and this is going to be held to edit down to get out all the gaps. So with that, I don't like my rants to be this long. With that, I'm gonna close out. So I hope this ends our discussion between me and Perfection Painting Wine Sip. And for all the other female commenters out there that want to know where I stand. Now, if you want to talk about something relevant, I should do a female series. I've done female nature, explaining it to the man, but I've never done female nature explaining it to the women, to where a woman's perspective. And even though in my real life I've been asked to write a particular book because basically women don't understand themselves. But the thing is I'm not the type of telling women what they want to hear. I'm the type of person that, with my children, with my relatives, with my girlfriends, and with everybody else, it's not that it's raw, but if you ask me the question and ask me for an answer, I'm gonna give you a straight answer. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm about get the problem solved. Black women don't understand themselves. If you want to understand yourself, I'm a Gnostic. We get the problem solved. We give it to you straight. We're not gonna put no extras on it and call you out your name, but we're gonna give it to you straight. Now, if you want to know, and you have to accept the truth as it is. So I may do that. Because I'm getting a lot of female commenters. I'm not gonna call them trolls, fellas. Female commenters. I may do that so we can kind of clear the air. Because I've done Gnostic sessions about male nature and male psyche, so I might have to do it for women, so we can clear the air. Because, my God, black women are in such a bad psychological state. It's almost ridiculous when black women basically have no standards anymore. I mean, really. I mean, you guys are just falling for anything, boy. The next thing you know, you guys will be going transsexual and trying to be men. Okay. Anyway, let me cut this off before I go on another rant.